is a categorization of officers.
Wow. So the senior officers are this general rank. Okay.
You could say that actually there is a good, maybe the structure of the army. In the army, the generals don't go to war, but they fight in the offices.
Yes.
Those are thinkers. Those are senior officers. Work like now, like the studio, like this one. They just come to the studio. They are given the maps. They are given everything. They fight when they are in the office. Those are the thinkers. Now, the field officers, what he has said, the lieutenant colonels and the majors and below, those are workers who are in the field. So that when the generals, senior officers are in the office like this one, they elect resources to go to different, where they want to reinforce, where they want to do this and this. That is why they call the senior officers. Yeah.
All right, those are live pictures from Siaya now. It's 9:37. In about 10 minutes or so, we expect the arrival of the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, to arrive at the venue. And then after that, once the body has arrived at Senator Obama Primary School, the mass will begin. We are keen, of course, to see who the celebrants are. I'm sure Jackson Ole Sapit, the primate of the Anglican Church, in Kenya will be among them. But I also understand, and I saw it from the Chief Justice's condolence message, that the general was also an attendant of the Methodist Church, probably when he's in Nairobi, and we'll also see who are leading the mass. But those are live pictures from Siaya County, Senator Obama Primary School, where we expect the mass to begin in about 10 minutes or about 7 minutes once the Commander-in-Chief has arrived and once the body has arrived at Senator Obama Primary School. So we are looking forward to two things: the arrival of the Commander-in-Chief as well as the arrival of the body. I think I spotted Mother Karua somewhere, but then we will see. But the condolence messages have come from far and wide, from as far as the US. I think I saw the condolences of a defense secretary. Yeah, that's Mother Karua. I was right. She's there. So I saw the condolence messages come from as far as the US. Yesterday we had senior military chiefs attending the ceremony, and there are also others. And I think I understand the senior military officials from Malawi are also in Siaya and other countries. Is this testament to how respected and honored the Kenya Defense Forces is in terms of ranking?
You see, those are senior officers. And the senior officer of the rank of a general,
yes,
they interact with other international generals. They meet, they exchange ideas, how they operate, how things happen in their respective countries. So they are interact. Like now, what we say, that the generals taking their general, it is the same as the generals of the world, the CDFs of the world. Nearly, or maybe the East African CDFs will be coming. And especially there are countries like Malawi where we train their officers, they train our officers, like Swazi and other countries, South Sudan and others. They are arriving in the country to mourn the great general. That is how it is international. It is not localized. He becomes a senior officer. It's an international figure. Yes.
I want to hear your thoughts on the same, Colonel Shab.
Well, and like what he's saying is correct. And they also have different forums where they interact, discussing security matters. Like there's an Africa forum, there's an East African forum, there is maybe a Commonwealth forum. So they interact with each other, the generals, in a lot of fora. And they also know each other personally. If the American general wants to talk about, he's not going to call the president. If he wants something to know about Kenya, he'll call his counterparts. The Kenya Force commander. So they interact, a lot. You know, the military, senior military officers have got their own channels, which are apolitical. Yeah. And these channels are always open irrespective of what is happening politically. So, and it is purposely done like that. Even if America is at conflict with China, the political, many are not talking. The generals will always talk. Yeah. Russia and America are not talking, but
Yes.
the American general will pick up a phone and call his Russian counterpart to talk at their level. Because at their level, there are sensitive things that could happen. Politics is politics, yeah? But then they must understand each other because of the power of the world, and they know the effects of war. So those channels are always open internationally.
And that is why we are seeing the trooping of those senior officials from different countries.
Yeah, they're always talking. They talk all the time. They talk. Yeah.
Wow. Again, live pictures there. And you can see the military is in charge. Even in terms of the sitting arrangement, I would imagine, Kana Rioba, that even the sitting arrangement is being planned meticulously by the Kenya Defense Forces. Right?
Yes. Yes, it is. You see, what is there is that there's nothing left to chance. You are given a task to do, and you must do that task at that time. You know, that is why you can see them supervising what is supposed to be done. Sometimes the Swedian, our Swedian, where I am now, sometimes they do things, they assume that it will be done by somebody. No, in the army, it is not be done by somebody. You take responsibility. For anything which goes wrong, you take responsibility. It's you, as a senior officer assigned to do that work. You must make sure that it is done according to the plan. Yes.
And this barrier is military.
Yes.
Yes.
It is military. The military bury their own. They bury their own.
They bury their own.
Yes. The
Let me
whole
ask,
process.
because most of the times, much of what you hear is a state funeral. What is this? Is it a state funeral? Is it a military funeral? Is a military funeral equivalent of a state funeral?
I think a state funeral is a senior government official or a senior person in society who can be awarded a state funeral, but the person to conduct that state funeral will be the military.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They entrust the military to do the work because it is going to be done according to what is supposed to be. So it is a state funeral entrusted to an defense forces to work because it is going to be perfect work. That is why it's supposed to be done by the state, but who is entrusted to do this work? That is why it is. The military now, like this one, is the military funeral. It's a military, okay, it's a state, but it's a military. And the military are in charge.
Yes. He's a serving officer.
Yeah.
A serving officer, whether it's a private or a general, shall be buried by the military.
All right. Let's rush to Siaya County again. Senator Obama Primary School, and link up with Ben Troy Njue. I think he's lined up several people to talk to. Troy, over to you.
Tunazidi kuwakaribisha kwa misa ibada.
Thank you so much. Back in studio, and we're still waiting for His Excellency President William Ruto here at the hall. And as we wait for him, I'm now joined by the immediate governor for Migori County, who will have some reflections in regards of how he knew the good general. Karibu sana, Governor. Na you have been, you know this guy personally, and you've also worked in him in one way or the other, because being a governor and he also was, you also worked for government. How do you remember General Ogolla?
First of all, I'm very, very sad. Yeah, personally, I'm very sad because Ogolla was not only our CDF. To me, he was like a brother. In fact, if there are friends that he had in Luoland, then I'm sure I'm one of them. Because even over the Easter, he did me a great favor. In fact, that was a great honor. This Easter, yeah, because he took his time to come and visit me together with his family. That was a great honor. And even before he met his tragic death, up to Tuesday, we were still talking with one another. So he was such a kind and loving man. In fact, if there is any definition of kindness and humility, that is what the late General exhibited. Ogolla was a humble man, a dedicated public officer, a man who gave his life just to serve the public. And I'm so sorry that we have lost him. And as a country, I believe each and everyone is mourning the tragic end of General Ogolla. To us, the Luos, we have lost, in fact, we have lost, and we have lost. It is terrible for us. We all know the journey it takes for somebody to rise through the ranks to reach where General was. It is hard, and I know that it will not be easier for us, for any of our sons and daughters to rise up to that rank. It requires a lot of discipline, it requires a lot of dedication and sacrifice, and all those virtues were in General Ogolla. So General was a man of rare qualities. If you want to talk about qualities of a human being, in fact, General had rare qualities that are hard to come by. One would hardly know if you found him walking in his ordinary attire. You would hardly know that this is the tough man leading our tough men and women. He was a down-to-earth guy. So I want to join the rest of the country in mourning the death of General Ogolla. Personally, I've said that we had a lot of attachment. Yeah, that rhythm, I would say, his character really persuaded me, because whenever you are closer to General Ogolla, you would feel right at home. You would feel you are safe. You are with a down-to-earth person. And he extended that one not only to me, but to everybody that encountered him. In fact, I've shared with quite a number of guys who got the opportunity to interact with him. He was such a kind guy. And we have lost a great man that is irreplaceable. You cannot get somebody of those qualities, somebody of those characters and qualities that General Ogolla had. So,
and Governor, we are actually talking about some of the reforms, because here people are talking about he was a reformer and he also assisted in putting up a church right here in Ngia. Kindly talk about that.
He had a lot of interest in knowing or in ensuring that the whole community or the whole society was empowered, socio-economically empowered. And we all know that for a region or for a country or a society to progress, first and foremost, discipline is paramount. So he was ready to lead by example, to show that if you humble yourself, then God can raise you up. So God raised him up. He had a lot of social activities that he wanted to bring on the ground here. I remember him talking about ways of empowering the local people. he was so passionate about that, ways of motivating even our young men and women or to become better and productive citizens in the future. Those were his major concerns. He just wanted us to have a just and free society in Kenya. Yeah.
And maybe your final word, because the family is right here. They are also mourning, and the country is mourning as well, and you are a leader.
Yeah, I mourn together with the family. In fact, as I come here, I've brought not only my condolences, but the condolences from my entire family, or my entire Migori, and even those who have not found the opportunity to come here. I know that spiritually they are with us. So my prayer, which I believe is the prayer of each and every one of us who have found time to come here, is that God gives this family the comfort, the solace, and the fortitude to bear this great load. It is only God that can console them and really become their comforter. So that is the prayer. And my final word is that may the Almighty Lord, may our kind and loving God rest General's soul in eternal peace.
Thank you very much, Governor, Your Excellency. Thank you. Well, as you've heard, is that the governor actually, the former governor of Migori, Okoth Obado, had an opportunity to share something with the late general during this Easter in 2024, and he said the guy was a reformer, a true Kenyan patriot. Well, back to you in studio as we wait for His Excellency President William Ruto, who we're expecting any moment from now.
Generali Francis Omondi Ogolla.
Thank you, Ben Troy, from Senator Obama Primary School in Siaya. As he says, the expectation now is for the arrival of the head of state and the commander-in-chief in this context to arrive. And once he's there, the procession of the body for the mass will begin. Ben Troy was engaging the former governor, immediate former governor for Migori County, Okoth Obado, regarding the life and times of General Francis Omondi Ogolla. And clearly, as you can tell, he meant a lot of things to a lot of people in terms of how he helped people, how he came through for people, and his leadership skills. Remember, all this time, being able to maintain a humble mien, despite being a senior government official, and particularly in the military, the Kenya Defense Forces. We are bidding goodbye to a gentleman who has had an impeccable career as a military man. And I think you saw a video that popped up just the other day of him while in training in the US, a young General Ogolla, full of life and really keen on his job. And I understand from that training, he came out as among the best in the training. The love pictures you have there are from Siaya. That is the Roots Party leader, George Luchiri Wajakoya, who joins fellow Azimio leaders in the burial event. I've seen Martha Karua, the NAK Kenya party leader, was the running mate, the Azimio running mate in the last elections. The host governor is James Boborengo, who I believe also is in the vicinity, or probably at the waiting area to receive the president. We saw a motorcade there for a moment, yeah? And this could be it, yeah. The plates tell it all. The president has arrived. And in time, for that matter. I think it just goes towards what above retired colonels were telling us about the timeliness of this event. And the commander-in-chief has arrived in time. And that means then what we're waiting for now is the arrival of the body so that the mass begins. That's President William Ruto. The person who received the body at the Kisumu International Airport was actually the deputy president. He's the one who received the body at the Kisumu International Airport. So you would also believe that he's also in the vicinity. But yeah, the president, accompanied by the first lady, Mama Rachel Ruto, have arrived and they have gone straight to the tent. Probably there will be a bit of debriefing before he can join in the mass. But generally, we'll take you a bit through the profile of General Ogolla, even as we continue to see those live images from Senator Obama Primary School. Those are live images from Senator Obama Primary School. President William Ruto has already arrived, which means then we are not too far away from the commencement of the burial or funeral ceremony. And there you go. James Orengo, the governor for Siaya County, is also there. And the opposition chief, Raila Odinga, obviously must be there. But I want to take you a bit through the profile of General Francis Ogolla, who by the time of death was just 6 days short of marking 40 years of service in the Kenya Defense Forces. And of course, his death presented a new territory to the military, as of course he became the first chief of defense forces to pass on while he's still in office. We were asking about the celebrants. Now you can confirm that the Right Reverend Jackson Ole Sapit, the primate of the Anglican Church, and I also think that's the Bishop of ACK Bondo Diocese. It looks like they'll be the main celebrants of the funeral service or the mass. The late Ogolla joined the military on the 24th of April, 1984. And in May 1985, he was commissioned as second lieutenant and posted to the Kenya Air Force. He trained as a fighter pilot with the US Air Force and also as an instructor pilot at the Kenya Air Force. The late Chief of Defense Forces has also trained in other fields, including imagery, intelligence, counterterrorism, and accident investigation. Ogolla was a graduate of École Militaire de Paris and National Defense College of Kenya. To point towards his education acumen, he holds a diploma both in international studies and military science, acquired from the Egerton University. He has a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Armed Conflicts and Peace Studies. And he got a first-class honors, by the way, from the University of Nairobi. And you would say this is a degree, Kana Oshawa, that is related to the kind of job that he would do, because he's a graduate, a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, Armed Conflict and Peace Studies. You would say probably that's guided him in his leadership?
It's also part of the curriculum of the National Defense College.
Okay.
I think he fathered, after the National Defense College, then he fathered that same field into his master's.
In fact, in the same university, he gets a Master's of Arts in International Studies. And that is as far as the diplomas and the trainings, and of course, being a master's degree holder from the University of Nairobi. Additionally, he has also served as Deputy Commander, Kenya Air Force. Base Commander, Laikipia Air Base. I think, Kana Orioba, you are making reference to that when he served at the Laikipia Air Base?
Yes, he worked as a Laikipia Air Base as a commander, where the jet fighters, the home of the jet fighters. And he progressively made that camp very nice. It was a very beautiful and likable place. He did a lot of projects like schools in that area. He did a lot of service and families, especially families, houses, very nice in Laikipia. And you talk about Ogolla in Laikipia, it's like Ogolla in Laikipia, Laikipia in Ogolla.
Laikipia in Ogolla. Quite interesting. Commander, Laikipia Air Base that time. That's what Colonel Rioba is making reference to. He was also commanding officer of the Tactical Fighter Wing. The chief flying instructor at the Kenya Air Force Flying Training School, and operations desk officer at Kenya Air Force headquarters. Of course, that is the early stages of when he begins his career at the military. He has also served in the former Yugoslavia as an observer and military information officer, and that was the period between 1992